In June 2018, the world watched as Donald Trump and Kim Jong-un walked together in Singapore, shaking hands and promising a new chapter in the relations between the United States and North Korea. Soon after, there was another meeting in Hanoi, but the negotiations collapsed without an agreement. Months later, another historic meeting took place at the demarcation line on the border between the Koreas. And today, in 2026, Trump shows little appetite to resume the same level of direct involvement or maximum pressure that marked his first term against North Korea. At the same time, Kim Jong-un accelerated the expansion of North Korea's nuclear program with new facilities, more weapons-grade material, and an openly irreversible stance. This change reflects the maturation of North Korea's nuclear program, strengthened strategic alliances, and a different calculation of priorities in Washington. North Korea's interest in nuclear energy dates back to the 1950s. After the Korean War, the Soviet Union provided technical training and initial support for what Pyongyang presented as a peaceful program. In the 1980s, the country built the Yongbyon complex, including a 5-megawatt graphite-moderated reactor capable of producing plutonium. In 1985, North Korea signed the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, but suspicion soon arose that the program had military objectives. The crisis worsened in the 1990s. Inspections by the International Atomic Energy Agency revealed inconsistencies. In 1994, the framework agreement was signed between the United States and North Korea, with Pyongyang agreeing to freeze and deactivate its graphite reactors in exchange for 2 light water reactors and a supply of heavy fuel. The agreement collapsed in the early 2000s. The United States then accused North Korea of maintaining a secret uranium enrichment program. In 2003, Pyongyang withdrew from the Non-Proliferation Treaty. 3 years later, in 2006, it conducted its first nuclear test. Under Kim Jong-il, the program advanced gradually. With the rise of Kim Jong-un in 2011, the acceleration was clear. Between 2016 and 2017, multiple nuclear tests took place, including what Pyongyang described as a hydrogen bomb, in addition to intercontinental ballistic missile tests capable of reaching the continental United States. Kim Jong-un began to emphasize the miniaturization of warheads, the development of tactical nuclear missiles, and diversified launch systems. When Trump took office in 2017 during his first term, he initially adopted a tough rhetoric. He spoke of fire and fury if North Korea threatened the United States. However, in 2018, he shifted to direct diplomacy. The Singapore summit produced a vague joint statement, a commitment to the complete denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula, security guarantees for North Korea, and normalization of relations. But at the second summit in Hanoi in February 2019, the gap between the parties was revealed. North Korea offered the permanent dismantling of the Yongbyon nuclear facilities in exchange for partial sanctions relief. The United States, represented by hardliners led by John Bolton and Mike Pompeo, demanded complete, verifiable, and irreversible denuclearization, including all facilities, materials, and missile programs, as well as dealing with inexperienced and distrustful North Korean generals. There was no consensus then on the scope, the sequence, or the verification mechanisms. Trump ended the meeting without an agreement. The failure was not just technical. North Korea saw the sanctions as the main instrument of pressure and wanted concrete relief before giving up its capabilities. Washington feared that any partial concession would leave Pyongyang with residual nuclear capability and without guarantees of future compliance. After the meeting in Hanoi, the talks cooled off. They stalled. He left office without a formal agreement, although the negotiation period coincided with a pause in North Korea's nuclear and long-range missile tests. In his second term, which began in 2025, Trump publicly repeated that he likes Kim Jong-un and that he would like to meet him again. He posted old photos on social media and made statements about meeting at the appropriate time in the future. However, no new summit has taken place so far. The 2025 United States National Security Strategy virtually omitted any explicit mention of North Korea's denuclearization, something that was present in equivalent documents from previous administrations. Several factors explain this change in tone and priority. First, North Korea is now much stronger militarily than in 2018 or 2019 with a larger nuclear arsenal.
18 e 2019.
Its nuclear arsenal has grown and diversified. Second, Pyongyang's alliances have changed the risk calculation. In June 2024, for example, during Vladimir Putin's visit to Pyongyang, the two countries signed the Comprehensive Strategic Partnership Treaty. Article 4 of this treaty states that if one of the parties enters a state of war due to armed aggression, the other will provide military assistance. And on the other hand, North Korea and with North Korea should be separated. The article of this treaty states that in case of war, North Korea, and according to North Korea NAA, according to a denuclearization consultation, in case of threat, aggression, and technical military cooperation. This raises the cost of any direct military action by the United States against North Korea, as it could involve Russia, the largest nuclear power on the planet. Third, American strategic priorities have shifted. China is now seen as the main long-term competitor. Conflicts in the Middle East and other fronts also demand more attention. Fourth and last, North Korea has shown the ability to withstand pressure. With Russian support and sanctions evasion channels through China, Pyongyang maintains a flow of resources and technology. Kim Jong-un has publicly declared that there are no negotiations that would trade denuclearization for sanctions relief. For these reasons, Trump did not repeat the maximum pressure approach, nor did he invest political capital in a new diplomatic offensive, similar to the one in 2018. The current approach seems more about containment and waiting than confrontation or deep engagement. The North Korean nuclear program has expanded significantly in recent years. Estimates from the Stockholm International Peace Research Institute released this year indicate that North Korea has about 60 assembled nuclear warheads and enough fissile material to produce at least 90 more warheads. Other analyses point to highly enriched uranium stockpiles of around 2.5 tons. This expansion makes any return to negotiations and complete denuclearization even more difficult. Pyongyang treats its nuclear status as a fait accompli and the basis of its deterrence strategy. Producing a highly contextualized video like this requires time, analysis, and research. That's why I ask for your support. Donate any amount using our Pix key, areamiliterajmail.com, or become a member here on the channel to support our work. Thank you very